Welcome travelers from far, welcome travelers from not so far. It is indeed a pleasure to be before you to help with this very important day. I'd like to read, if you would allow me to indulge, the proclamation. 2012 Year of Understanding and Forgiveness Proclamation. Whereas the year 2012 marks the 150th anniversary of the U.S.-Dakota War in Minnesota, an event which resulted in great suffering and loss of life. And whereas the anniversary of this tragic conflict offers an opportunity for Minnesotans to learn more about the life and culture of the Dakota people. And whereas a ceremony in Mankato on December 26, 2012 will mark the anniversary with the dedication of the Dakota 38 Memorial in remembrance and reconciliation. Today, we take a step forward to forgive everyone everything in appreciation of cultural diversity and human understanding. Therefore, I, Eric Anderson, on behalf of the City of Mankato, do proclaim the year 2012 as official Year of Understanding and Forgiveness. I'd like to give this proclamation to Charlie Vig, Chairman of the Shakopee, who will be taking it on behalf of Ernest and Vernell Wabashaw, elders who were not able to be here. Charlie? And I'd like to ask if Mr. Considine would like to add a few words.
It is my honor to acknowledge our Dakota partners in this endeavor of the Dakota 38 Memorial. First of all, Vernell Wabashaw, whose vision a little over a year ago started this process. Martin and Linda Bernard, who, taking Vernell's vision, designed the monument. We would like to thank Leonard Wabashaw for helping coordinate some of the various aspects of the monument. We'd really like to thank and are very grateful to the former chairman of the Shakopee Dakota community, Stanley Crooks, for his leadership, guidance, and understanding. We'd like to thank the Upper Sioux Reservation for their financial contributions. We'd like to really thank, again, the Shakopee Dakota community for their generous support of the memorial. And we're very pleased to have the chairman here today, Charlie Vig, and Vice Chairman Keith Anderson, and as your secretary, and Lori Watson, who's still on her way as one of the runners. Now it is my pleasure to introduce State Representative Erdl.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming today to observe this very solemn occasion. 150 years ago, Minnesota's greatest tragedy played out here in the Minnesota River Valley. Unfortunately, what happened in Minnesota in 1862 received scant attention nationally, and still today is not given the attention that it deserves. Because of that, there is still a lack of education, a lack of understanding. And part of my task as co-chair with Secretary of State Ritchie of the Minnesota Civil War and Dakota War Task Force has been to help to do more educating about the atrocities and the horrors of that war. Because through education, I believe, comes understanding. And through understanding comes the healing that is still needed today. And so we have tried to do some things that I think have had some small steps in that direction. I was at Pipestone with Secretary Ritchie when the exiles returned at Ness Church, where the ceremony of healing and wiping of tears took place. And at Pipestone, Secretary Ritchie read a proclamation that I think was quite meaningful, issued by Governor Mark Dayton, in which Governor Dayton repudiated the statement, the proclamation of September 1862, issued by Governor Alexander Ramsey, in which he urged the extermination or elimination from Minnesota of all Dakota people. It is wrong for those words to still be part of any official record. And so,
strike them!
And so, with that, I urge those here today and others to continue to tell the story of what happened here so that we can move forward into the future with a better life for all people, Dakota and white. Thank you.
Aho! Yahi Kinwachte. On behalf of the Shakopee Mdewa Kantoa, Dakota Yate, and his business council, Chairman Charlie Big, myself, Vice Chairman Keith Anderson, and Secretary Treasurer Lori Watso, who's on the run here. I understand they're running a little late. We would like to acknowledge the well-represented Ocheti Sekoe. To be pulled together like this is an awesome sight. We know that all our relatives from all over the region, all over the country are here. We know that our relatives in the other world are here. Before Chairman Stanley Crooks passed away, he championed the reminder and the acknowledgement of the 38+2 through this memorial. And he recognized Governor Dayton's commemoration. His commemorative statement of what took place. And on the Friday of our Wachipi, had me acknowledge that statement on his behalf shortly before going into the hospital. I commend all of you for the spectacular reverence paid today. It's an honor for me to be up here to recognize that. It is a reminder of the sacrifice of all the Dakota Tiashbaye, Tiwahi, all the human beings whose lives are disrupted and are still affected today. We know these men and women and children were taken by their relatives immediately through to the stars. And they were happy to be seen. Wichoni, Wozani, Okizi. Life, health, and heal. Thank you very much.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Keith, for the nice words. I just wanted to say, I think Stanley's here with us today. This meant a lot to him to further the education of what this means to us. And I'm just here to help carry it on. So thanks for coming. Thanks for all the riders. Thanks for the runners. Thanks for all of you that have traveled so far. Thanks for all of the nice words from the mayor and Mr. Erdahl. So just again, thank you and carry on the education. Thank you.
And at this time, I'd like to call Wachashin Hacha, the 19th generation keeper of the sacred pipe, for some thoughts and a prayer from Mr. Orville Looking Horse.
Obitakepi, apetukle, achonipulo, apetukle achonipulo, ache ole anojipiki, ache omanukakapi, onietusni, utehike, utakioki kapi kinache, ache tehiucha kikapi. Nukache apetukle nukiksi apna yoki apyasha chokupina chogripulo medakepina. We shall live are the words of our prayers. We shall live are the words of our songs, our sacred ceremonial songs. We have traveled a great distance through hardship. A lot of pain, a lot of suffering from day one. It was cold many times. We see our children, we see our elders that are with us. It was a hard journey. But today, that we've been here to witness a great gathering to find peace in our heart. And I Uchok aki, ela coach of Dakota na oyate kinache, onya ache, makapnache, oche kiglaki monipi. Nampet kinache, apet luta chwa kahia chwa, ya cheglina jipina, na oche kiknagla no jipila. When the ride first started, some of the elders came to us and said, when they hung the 38 Dakota people, they sang together in the spirit of the relatives that were hung, the spirit of the Dakota people. We shall live and we shall sing together. Asking my relatives right now, keep sing a song on this beautiful day, a new time, a new beginning, a healing in our hearts and our minds. Sing a song with me right now. Waka kaka koka heya che waki hai. kielo ai me ta kuyeo wani ta cha kokaheya che wa kielo ai wakan fanka kokaheya che wa kielo ai wakan fanka kokaheya che wa kielo ai me ta kuyeo wani ta cha kokaheya che wa kielo Wokiksia, the 38 plus 2, and all the fallen relatives, Oyate. Ampetukile, lecho Monikakapina, lecho Oglinashpi. Wakanache, Ampetuiki, Wakahiacho, Fugash, Wakantaka, Ampetukunslapo. Lecho Ampetukile, Hona Chakshi, Omonikakapina, lecho Oglinashpi. Pokache tiwayo kitapiki nata pokate kia kizania kimoni piki. Leche woda to kitapi makapi na chukoya pika na se akiucho kitapi na loaste na loakache tukte chukoya pina se kia dache wado kitapi tukte na eja takija pina wayaza kapino chunki siap lo hapetukle. Leche ampetu obani kakapina leche ona leche glina jipika leche medake obeche ake leche oche tu kakapi na ke tukatu ke zania kumani pitlo oche tu la medako so medako.
The runners are on the east side of Mankato. They're coming this way, let you know. Right now, I would like to call Shirley, I believe it's Pipo, Reconciliation Park Committee Chair, and Bud Lawrence, Kola, Reconciliation Park Committee. Please come up here, you two individuals. Come on up here.
Thank you very much for being here today, and I'm very honored to be part of the dedication of the Dakota 38 Memorial. I'd like to thank our committee members, Bud Lawrence, Jessica Potter, Anna Thill, Sarah Braveheart, Jack Considine, Tanya Angie, and Catherine Hughes. Vernell Wabasha, wife of Chief Ernest Wabasha, hereditary chief of the Mdewakanton Dakota Nation, had a vision for a memorial to be placed at Reconciliation Park with the names of the Dakota 38 warriors who were hung in 1862. Linda Duran and Martin Bernard, the designing artist, created Vernell's vision in Dakota 38, which we are dedicating today, the 150th anniversary of the execution. We would like to thank the designing artists, Linda Duran and Bernard Martin, for all the work that they did, along with supporting artist Greg Mueller. We are very glad that they were able to have Vernell's vision become a reality. The inscription, "Forgive everyone, everything," will be carved into better stone benches and placed around the Dakota 38 Memorial next year. This inscription speaks to all nations and all generations. The committee would like to thank everyone who contributed to the Dakota 38 Memorial. Once again, we would like to recognize the Shakopin, Mdewakanton Sioux community for funding a major portion of this memorial, and David and Deborah Andreas, Better Stone Company, Upper Sioux Community, Bremer Bank, Pioneer Bank, and Pub 500 for their generous donations. The committee would also like to recognize INS Group, the design and engineering, R.W. Karlstrom, site work and placement of the memorial, Vetter Stone for the native stone, Creative Landscapes for landscaping and stone, and BLK Electric for lighting. And now it is my pleasure to introduce Bud Lawrence. who for many, many years has been the driving force leading towards the reconciliation process. Bud?
Thank you, Shirley. This is a great day, not only for the Dakota, but for Mankato. 150 years ago, this would have never happened. But we've changed things. We've changed things, we've turned it around. Look at this park. This park was dedicated to hanging people 150 years ago. We've turned that around. In the brief time I've got up here to talk, I'd like to identify some very important people that could be forgotten, but they can't be. There are people who, with Jim Buckley, a YMCA director, and myself in 1972, created the first reconciliation powwow. Before 1972, very few Dakota people, if any, would stop here in Mankato for anything. For 110 years. In 1972, there was an opening for us to create this powwow, and we took advantage of it. We met in Jim Buckley's office every other week to pull this together. This is a difficult thing to do because we really weren't sure of what would happen at this powwow, even though we had the go-ahead from the city of Mankato to do it. But I want to mention those people's names because they're so important, and some of you may remember them. 9 of them are deceased, and the other 2 are elders, are not here today. Amos Owen and Ione Owen from Prairie Island. Very important people. Amos not only helped start this powwow, he was the catalyst of it. But in addition to that, he started the first December 26th ceremony in 1978. When only he and Ione and Wally Wells, his brother-in-law, and Gertrude, his wife, would come and sometimes stop by my restaurant where I worked and pick me up when we go out to the park. There'd be only 5 or 6 of us there. And it's really grown. It's tremendous today. This is great. The next people I mentioned would be Norman Crooks and Edith Crooks from Shakopee. Amos Crooks and Rose Crooks. Go back to Norman Crooks. He led a group of Dakota people from Happy Chef North in 1971. There were about 50 of them. A cold day like this, they walked all the way down here. The old monument was here at that time. They spent some time at the monument and said some prayers. And this was probably the first time a group of Dakota ever came down into this area of Mankato. Then from Lower Sioux, there was Big Dave Larson, and then Chief Ernest Wabasha, and his wife Vernell. Vernell, as she's been mentioned before, is really a catalyst too. She has been a money raiser. She has been just all over trying to develop a reconciliation here in Mankato. She's a great friend of mine, and it's unfortunate she couldn't come today, but Ernie is not feeling that well, and she's spending her time with him. Out of this reconciliation attempt that we made, and it's continuing, of course, today, 1972, we've had a lot of byproducts. If you look around this park, across the street, there's a Winter Warrior. That was established in 1987, the year of reconciliation, proclaimed by Governor Perpich. The Buffalo was dedicated in 1897. There's a school called the Dakota Meadows School that was dedicated in 1990. There are many, many other offshoots from the reconciliation efforts that we've had here. So each year that we've had the powwow, there's just a little bit more reconciliation coming out. And now here we are at this particular juncture, and we're almost there. And we've got this beautiful plaque over here that we can all be grateful for and thankful for. So when Dakota people come to Mankato, they can feel free to come there. That's location. Put your tobacco down and say their prayers. Thank you very much.
And now, the reading of the 38 Dakota names. I'd like to introduce from the Flanders Santee Nation, the reading of the 38 plus 2 Dakota by Mr. Sidney Bird.
Vita kwepi. Le ampe tu ke yushka. You are not be choose up, you know. Le ampe tu ke walking suya ampe tu hecha. Today is a day of remembrance. Tomorrow kids hook up, and now we choking suya. Those who've gone before us, we must remember and never forget. These are the ones who paid the supreme sacrifice for our liberation. Hey, Pram, Aïd Shahé, Hey, Bida, Napreshli, Iteduta, Shak Peta, Shaskeda, Sna Mani, Hebra, Hebra Krai, Washichu, Gavalecha, Hategara, Oyate Aku, Pteduta, Wahihena, Shagaska, Dowasa, Mahuwe, Shagahna, Sate Higrachna, Hna Iya Day, Tigro Nija, Oyate Tawa, Wachpeduta, Maza Bobudu, Henry Milford, Hna Iyanka, Cheta Huka, Heta Iku, Napreshni Argen, Wakhanchaka, Wakia Yala, Maza Kutemani, Maza Trahi Naji, Wakhan Ijanjan, Baptist Campbell, Machbia Ahinaji, Chaka Ichach Geda Mani, Toka Koyak Inajiki, Ihansuka Yaomani. Please, for a moment, bow your head and say, Wopila Tanka Ukeni Chapel. We grant you a great word of gratitude. I'm proud to be with you today. My great-grandfather, Mamalikiyan Hiyaye, was one of those who paid the supreme sacrifice for our liberation so that we may live. He was sent to a prison camp in Davenport, Iowa. We must never, never forget those who paid for our freedom. Or you stand up and choose up at all.
Those of you that remember another friend, Eli Taylor, his daughter, Doreen Thompson, and from Sioux Valley, Manitoba, she said, Chechbi, Pugashila Wichok Olo. And now we chalk away, she said, so that the people can live, continue to be strong. I gave my flesh for all of you. so that people can be strong, and she's sitting down here. I want to make sure you all know that in many ways people continue to help one another, and we don't even know that we are being helped, such as this other friend, Catherine Hughes, and the reading of the prayer and the poem by the Eli Taylor family representative, Kola Bill Taylor. And while he makes his way up here, we want to go to the Mazakute singers for the 38 song that you made in 1981.
Hey!